Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's debate in our studio. Today we have here with us two very special guests, both members of the European Parliament, Mr. Branko Grims from Slovenia and Mr. Milan Mazurek from Slovakia. And we will be discussing about some very important European topics today and all of the issues that European Union is facing at the moment. So, gentlemen, I'm very happy that I have you two with me today. Thank you for accepting the invitation to be in the studio. And we have many important questions to talk about, and I am sure that the answers to them will be even more interesting. So, let's begin with the first topic, and that is immigration in Europe at the moment. So recently, Spain's left-wing government, led by the Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez, has approved a decree to grant legal status to approximately 500,000 undocumented migrants who arrived in the country before December 31st, 2025, and have resided in the country for at least 5 months with no criminal record. He said, quote, "Yes, my country has offered a path to regularize 500,000 undocumented immigrants, 500,000 people with whom we live every day in the market, in the search in our children's schools," saying that these people were already there and are a part of their lives. Many people said that he has gone too far, and Spain is commenting on that above all, Spain is a welcoming country. So, in addition to the Spanish Prime Minister's new decision, there was a video that left many people shocked after seeing it, and it is a speech of the Spanish former Minister for Equality, Irene Montero, where she openly expressed her strong desire for immigrants of all skin colors to replace white people that she labels as fascists and racists. I will just quickly quote what she said. "Of course, yes, we want them to vote. We have achieved papers, regulations already, and now we are going for nationality or to change the law so they can vote, of course. I wish replacement theory. I wish we could sweep out fascists and racists from this country with migrant people, with working people. Of course, I want there to be a replacement of fascists, replacement of racists, replacement of parasites, and that we do it with working people, whatever their skin color may be." She also asked kindly that please, immigrants, don't leave us alone with white fascists. So, gentlemen, I want to hear your opinion on both of their statements.
First of all, everything that allows illegal migration is just crime. We should use real words. So these people are criminals, and those who invite them are criminals, and those who allow that are criminals. And what Spain did is crime against humanity, and it's crime against their own nation. So we can see what leftists really are. Leftists hate their own people, their own nation, and the worst kind of racism is to hate your own people. Those people are real racists, those people are doing damage to Europe, those people are destroying Europe, as a matter of fact, and those people should be prosecuted. And the only problem is that still our jurisdiction is flooded with cultural Marxism and doesn't see that as crime. But in fact it is, because there is no law in Europe or anywhere else that would allow that what those people are doing now. They are going against all European laws about everything that is law in Spain. They just opened the door and flooded the Schengen area, because if somebody gets his paper, he can go in Schengen area wherever he wants. And they flooded all Schengen area with illegal migrants, which now will be legalized. So this is, in fact, the leftist dream, and who still think that the great replacement is some far-right theory. And see now, they are not only doing it, They even announce it. They said that this is something the best that will happen, and so on and so on. So what I think, this should be stopped, this should be prosecuted. Those people are traitors, traitor to their own nation, traitor to the European nations, and they are traitors according to the law of the European Union. That's obvious. It's just a question when those who should prosecute them would see that and react. So it's just a question of time when those people will be called and to have to respond in front of a court for what they did to their society, their nation, and Europe as a whole.
Thank you so much, Mr. Grims. And what about your opinion, Mr. Mazurek?
I'm really glad that Mr. Grims said that, and I completely agree with his statement. And I would like to join on that first sentence, that they are using fake words, newspeak, to describe the situation. Because we are not talking here about some undocumented migrants. We are talking about criminals, people who deliberately choose the way how to enter the country. And they enter the country illegally. So if the United States government, for example, is naming them illegal aliens, that's the right term which we should use. Because calling them undocumented migrants is completely shaping the reality, which I don't like. I like the truth. Maybe the truth is inconvenient for a lot of people, but I will stick to the truth. And the truth is that those people are criminals, exactly like Mr. Grims fairly pointed. It's crazy from my perspective to hear people from the Spanish government or former members of the Spanish government naming that they want to replace their own population, people with different opinions, giving them labels like fascists, Nazis, racists, only because they disagree with them, and wanting openly those criminals to replace their own nations. Exactly, I agree even with that this is the worst kind of racism. Not we who oppose these illegal criminal actions like entering the country illegally are racist. No, we are normal people who want to live in a safe, beautiful and prosperous countries. Those people who want to attack our freedoms, who want to attack our cultures and our identities, those are full of hate, full of hatred to their own communities, to their own nations. And I don't know what happened to the people, why they have this kind of trauma, why they have this kind of mental illness from my perspective, when they hate themselves too much. But we should not let those people to govern our countries. We should not let those people to decide what is good and what is right and shape our media reality. Because if we let the same thing what happened in Germany previously and now what is happening in Spain to happen in the whole Europe, we are facing the consequences which will mean the complete destruction of Europe. I love the idea of Europe and even my country, which I knew from the time when I was growing up. How beautiful it was, how safe it was, how I was able to be raised as a child in a nice, safe environment. And those people are taking this idea from me. They are taking it from my own children and they are destroying their future. That's why I'm so motivated to fight against those kind of ideas and political pressure against us. And I think that they are imposing a huge threat to the all European citizens, not only those Spanish people. Because again, like Mr. Grims fairly mentioned, this will allow those illegal aliens move freely all across the Schengen area, which means even our countries. And I'm not okay with that some criminal who entered the country illegally, who broke the law, will now get a permit to freely move all across the Schengen area, because that will mean that once I will awake in my home and I will see him in front of my window and I will know that this man is a criminal and he is free only because some government has lost their mind. So I'm strongly against that, and this what happened in Spain should be used as an example for the rest of the time of how we should not and never do that in our country.
Just to be clear about something, when I say criminals, I mean those who let them in. The government, and if we go from top to the bottom, how this whole thing started by opening the borders, and who demanded it? Miss Angela Merkel and some people in European institutions. And do they have this right? No, they don't, because they should obey the law. And this is all what I say all the time for 10 years. We should all obey the law. This was misuse of their function. and omitting what they should do. And this is both criminal acts according to our criminal law. And what's next? Those governments that open their borders, like the Spanish did right now, are they allowed to? No, they don't have such a law. So they are going against the law. So they are criminals. They are misusing their power. This misuse of power, this is a crime according to our law. And we should be, as normally we hear in this house, in the European Parliament many times, we should obey the rule of law. And the third part, those in NGOs who go abroad and tell the illegal migrants, come to our country, we will help you, come, just we'll tell you how to cross the border and help you with this. They are using this, misusing, in fact, the taxpayers' money they get from European Union and also from their own governments. But what they do, in fact, is if you tell somebody, a foreigner, in this case, to break the law, and you know that you are saying to him that he should break the law, you are breaking the law too. So if you put all those big words about humanity and so on out of all this question, in fact, it's all just crime. Everything that allows illegal migrations are just crime. And those who commit that, those who allow that, are just criminals, and they should be prosecuted.
So that brings us to the next question that I have prepared for you two, that is connected to what you gentlemen were just talking about. So I would like to hear your opinion about why is it that so many Europeans nowadays feel this inner feeling of guilt that we have to accept migrants from third world countries. And a lot of people point out that they would never accept us in the same way we do in our country, so yet we feel obligated to take them all. And Mr. Grims, you also talk about this in your book, Zmaga dobrega, or Victory of the Good, and you explain it very well in there. So could you please first comment on what is your opinion about it?
Well, Europe is flooded with cultural Marxism and extreme leftist propaganda. And what leftists do, they use Christian values against our Western civilization. So they turn one of our best points against all of us if we accept their game. In fact, what they do is they amplify the words of Vladimir Ilyich Lenin, who said, if we destroyed the national pride of just one generation, we have won. And that's exactly what they do. They destroy simply every single thing which Western civilization brought in positive to the world, and Western civilization finished the slavery, bring Europe to the most powerful power in the world, and has been copied in so many places. And our culture is something we should really be proud of, because you can go anywhere in Europe and see what are the achievements of our nations, and we should preserve that also for our children. Unfortunately, this cultural Marxism is a critical theory taught in schools, also from the top to the bottom, to the universities. They even teach that as, I don't know, the highest level of science. And so, in fact, this is nothing else but in all cultural Marxism. And this critical theory is just hating the European people. It's just hating the white people. Because who is to blame? The white man, and then the white woman, and then the white child. So this is just crazy. This is racism, the worst kind of racism. That's exactly what I've been speaking about a few minutes ago. And that's what leftists impose. And we should completely go against it, and we should emphasize what everything good that the Western civilization brought us. And Western civilization is based on Christian values. That's why I always emphasize that we should go back to real Christian values, and this is the only way we can save our Europe, because every civilization is based on some values which are from the religion, which is there for hundreds and hundreds of years. And in Europe, that was Christianity. And even those who think they are atheists, but they still believe that women are equal to men, that each person is something special, is unique, that the life is nothing we can touch, so the secrecy of life. These are in fact Christian values. And if we obey them, if we respect them, and we respect our civilization, it's very easy to find a way out. Otherwise, there is no way out, and Europe will be lost if we go away and accept the leftist propaganda. So we must fight it.
So your opinion is that Islamic religion is not compatible with our Christian values?
Well, it's not only my opinion. I'm most certain that European values and European civilization is completely different than, for example, radical Islam. But I should also quote the murdered Charlie Kirk, who said Islam is incompatible completely with the Western civilization. And that's the whole fact.
Yes, it looks like it. And thank you very much for your response. And Mr. Mazurek, I would like to also hear your opinion about it, why Europeans feel this sense of guilt. And also, statistics don't lie. We can see increased crime rates connected to immigration. And it seems like right-wing people are still scared of being labeled as fascists, Nazists, racists by the left wing. And why is it that they're so worried about these labels more than being worried about our safety, about our women's safety and children's safety? And how can Europeans get rid of this fear of being called names by the left?
At first, I don't feel any inner guilt. I don't have any reason to feel guilty. For what? I didn't commit any crime. I am a reasonable, responsible citizen of my country, and I'm trying to fight for the best of my country. This cultural Marxism cancer, which is going to attack young people, especially young people, because they are aiming and targeting for the young generation, this cultural Marxism is destroying the whole generation of young people, because they are really convinced that they are some kind of problem in this world. Because this cultural Marxist theory, this critical theory, is teaching them that, exactly as Mr. Grims mentioned, this white European Christian man is the biggest enemy of mankind. That we are some kind of slave masters, colonizators, those people who are attacking different countries and enslaving their native indigenous population. But this is completely nonsense. You can look at the whole history of mankind. It was a constant struggle, everybody against everybody. But we are, on the face of earth, the only one group of people who are apologizing for their past and taking some kind of fake responsibility for something what we even not did. It happened previously before we have been even born on this world. And you can look, for example, at modern Turkey. The Turkish Ottoman Empire, what they did in Europe, what they have been doing, for example, in the whole Balkan region for the centuries. Even my country, the southern part of my countries, have been enslaved for more than 70 years by Turkish armies. They were enslaving women into the sex slavery. They were stealing young children from the mother's hands, taking them to Turkey and creating from them as soldiers who were then sent after that to attack their own parents in their own homes, villages and towns. They were doing unimaginable crimes for the centuries in Eastern Europe, and you see anybody from Turkey to apologize for anything like that? The rulers of Ottoman Turkey during that time have high statues in their main capital city. They are endorsed, they are embraced, they are supported, they are cherished for what they did, because they consider that time of their history as a part when they have been strong, they have been conquerors, they have been dominant, and they are proud of it. And you can look at any Asian nation, Mongolians, you can look at Tashkent and cities and places like that and ask them if they are so ashamed of the rulers from their past, of their history. No, all of them are proud. Only we are facing the consequences of this cultural Marxist theory, which teach us that we need to be weak, we need to suffer constantly, we need to apologize to the whole world for something what we not even did. And that's why all of those people are calling for the replacement of their own native population. That's why they are calling for bringing here hordes of illegal immigrants just to replace their own populations, because they are convinced that they are pure evil in this world. And that's why when I'm discussing this cultural Marxist theory, I'm always speaking about something like cancer, because it's destroying the whole body, their own body, the body of the nation. And that's absolutely disgusting from my perspective. And when you confront those people with this kind of arguments that not any civilization in this world, not any country except the white people in Europe or America or Australia are apologizing for their past, they don't have any real argument. That's why those leftists are using these labels you mentioned in your question. Fascist, Nazis, racist, extremist, right-wing, ultra, I don't know what. But there is no way how we can defend ourselves against these labels with going to the debate and defending, no, I'm not like that, I'm not like this, because they want us in that position. No, we should openly attack them that you are just liars. You want the destruction of your own nations, and you are using these fake empty, shallow labels just to attack the people who want to have their country safe, prosperous, who want to raise their children in traditional Christian values, who want to have their wives at homes safe. You are attacking us and using these labels only as a weapon against the minds of ordinary, good and responsible people, the citizens of our country. So we should not go into the defense line, and I stopped completely with that. I don't care when the media are attacking us with those labels, because they will never stop. They will always do that. We just have to show the people with any possible way that those labels are just empty, fake words used as a weapon against their own existence, against the future of their own children, against the security of them in their own streets, in their own cities. And that's why I'm telling it openly, we should be more proud. We should encourage among the population to be proud of their history, to be proud of their fathers, to be proud about their grandfathers, what they achieved, what they built, because every one of those people who hate us are not ashamed to use any invention what European Christian men invented in the past. They are not ashamed to use our technological advance. They are not ashamed to use our list of human rights, our law system, which we invented, which has no comparison with any place in the world. And they are not ashamed to want to live in our countries, of course, because they are much safer, much richer, and they have much more, incomparable, much more rights than in their countries of origin. And that's why we should stand for our countries, fight for our values, and say it loudly and proud.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mazurek. So, gentlemen, you both agree that these lawbreakers, illegal immigrants, people that are not compatible with our religion, do no good for Europe. So I'm interested.
But just to add something,
Yes, of
I
course.
always say don't be angry at those who are coming because they were invited. Be angry at those who invite them because they break the laws, as I described already, and they are responsible for this situation here. And those are people here in European institutions and in governments of some countries inside the European Union. Especially Spanish government at this moment is critical.
Thank you.
I completely agree, and I always answer on a question when somebody asks me, are you racist? I said no, but maybe I will become in the future racist against white liberal progressivists because they are the biggest enemy of the European nation. And if there is this kind of racism, maybe this is the best way, but that's just a joke, of course. But yes, this is exactly the good and right point. They are responsible for what is happening. The people who are coming here are just using the advantage which have been given to them, but they are responsible for the destruction of our countries, not any immigrants who are coming here illegally.
That's a good point. And why are these people allowing it to happen?
Because people in institutions think that they will be re-elected on their votes, and they are importing new voters for them. This is called the big replacement. And in Spain, they have said this publicly, so this is not a theory anymore. They don't even say it's not true. They say that it's good. This is the first, so political goal, to keep in power. And second is because they get money from it. NGOs are paid with taxpayers' money. The governments in some countries and in European Union is misusing and are misusing the money from taxpayers to fund them. And in the end, they all get money from this story, and they use big words about humanity. In fact, they're just low little words about cash. And if we will stop financing NGOs and we will stop misusing taxpayers' money for funding the illegal migrants, illegal migrations will stop immediately. It's the money who pushes all this illegal migration situation. And the money from globalists, the money from European Union, the money from governments, but we have to emphasize once again, no government has its own money. It's always taxpayers' money. And that means that taxpayers' money is misused to destroy Europe. And this should be stopped immediately.
Thank you so much. So both of you gentlemen agree that these immigrants that come from third world countries are not compatible with us Europeans in their religion and behavior. So what is your opinion? I will ask both of you, but Mr. Mazurek first. What is your opinion that Europe should do? Because we can see that the United States have already deported 2.5 million people so far. And do you think that Europe should do the same, or is there any other solution?
We cannot do the same as they did in the United States, because they have a federal government. Of course, we have a nation state with a different set of rules. Of course, you cannot force Spain to do such a thing when you see that their government want to do opposite. They want to bring the whole world into the Spain and replace their own population. But there is a problem with the leadership, current leadership of the European Union, because this leadership not even want for us, for the national states, to get rid of criminals and illegal immigrants from our countries and send them back home, because of course this is what we should do. But they are attacking those countries who want to do such a thing. Let's look what happened with Hungary. Hungary is forced to pay 1 million euro every day as a fine because they protected their country against illegal immigrants. So that is absolutely crazy. This is exactly the opposite what the leadership of the European Union should do. I think that we should vote in our own countries for the governments who want to protect their citizens and who want to protect their countries against the illegal migration. And the illegal migrants who are currently in the country should be definitely sent back home. But if there is a government who wants to do such a thing, there should be no obstacle, no constraints from the European Union against such a move. But now we see a problem not only in countries like Spain or Germany, where the government is encouraging the people from all over the world to come to that countries, but we see the problem especially in the European Commission or the European Parliament, where the majority of MEPs very often vote against the right of the countries to protect their borders. So we should have a right as a nation state. That's why I support these sovereignist statements, because I really don't want current Spanish government to influence my country. This is the last thing what I would like to see, that this government has a part of power in my country. No, because they are destroying their own countries. I don't want for them to destroy my country. But we should have a freedom to defend our countries, and we should have real conditions in the European Union to do such a thing. And that's why not only the national elections are important, but also the elections to the European Parliament. Because this is the control scheme, the control mechanism, which can protect or prohibit the European Commission to do such a thing, to make such decisions which are then destroying Europe.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Branko Grims, what is your opinion?
Well, I think we should do the same as the United States, each state, of course, by itself. And we need the European Union to encourage that, to help smaller countries like Slovakia, Slovenia, and so to do the remigration, because otherwise Europe has already been lost. If we don't do the remigration, Europe won't survive the few next decades as it is. When radical Islam will prevail, there will be no Europe anymore. They always talk about minority rights, but when come in power, look at the minority rights in those countries in the Middle East and think about how it would look in Europe if something like this happens. And history also teaches us. We have been discussing the situation in the past. Nobody in Slovakia, nobody in Slovenia enslaved nobody. But we have been enslaved by Islamists and also some black pirates which came on the sea from Africa. Even we have a song, a national song about that. From our most famous poet, Mr. Franz Epercher. And so this is this situation which teaches us what will happen if we don't defend ourselves. And we should defend our countries, we should defend our sovereignty. I don't want to hear about Europe as some sort of federation or something like this, which has been just discussed a few days ago, also by Mr. Draghi and some others. Because what we can see now is that the national state is the most powerful weapon against cultural Marxism, against imposing leftist ideology, of course, if it is led by the right-wing government. But people have the right to choose. On the other hand, what is in the European level we have seen in the last elections? Would you believe that people in the United States and people in Europe have voted almost the same? To the right. But because of different voting system and different political culture in the United States, they got the right Donald Trump, and Europe got extreme left von der Leyen. And they even punish me because I don't want to vote for her. I will never vote for her.
Thank you very much. Shifting gears to another crucial issue facing Europe today, and that is free speech. Both of you have been vocal about threats to freedom of expression, from social media regulations to political labeling. Notably, Elon Musk has interacted with both of you, your posts on the platform X, responding with fire emojis to your posts, Mr. Branko Grims, and he reposted one of your speeches from the plenary session in the parliament, Mr. Mazurek. So let's dive into this with some questions to explore your perspective about it. So, Mr. Grims, Elon Musk has personally commented the fire emojis on your post, where you were slamming the European Union's fine as censorship. And with his comment, he signaled to you that he's respecting and admiring your opinion and your post. I want to know, getting a comment from the owner of the platform X and one of the most influential people on the planet currently, is not something that happens to everyone. So your post caught his attention. How do you interpret Elon Musk's reaction to your post, and is it a potential game changer for Europe's free speech fight? And what's the X's role in pushing back against censorship?
What Elon Musk did in the past is something the best that happened to the Western civilization in the third millennium, because he bought Platform X and opened it completely for different opinions, ended the whole censorship, the fact checkers and everything that are still parasitizing the other platforms. And even the European Commission is misusing the taxpayers' money to fund them. But what Elon Musk did, he opened the place for the real free speech, because the freedom of speech is a basic human right, and it's like virginity, whether it is a whole or whether it doesn't exist at all. So there must be no censorship at all. And this is why I proposed with many other MPs and also some professors and some from jurisdiction him for the Nobel Peace Prize the last year. And I think he would really deserve it. Unfortunately, then also Mr. Trump started and they gave the Nobel Peace Prize to somebody else. What is the most important with the freedom of speech? If we support freedom of speech, we support the Western civilization. When we now fight for the freedom of speech, we fight for the Western civilization, and we also fight for our countries. Without freedom of speech, democracy is just a farce. And this is why the freedom of speech is the first necessary step if you want to keep the Western civilization alive. Without the freedom of speech, nothing is achievable, nothing can even be discussed. You can't find the most important issues, you can't find the right answers. So this is why the freedom of speech is so important, and it's also protected by the UN Charter of Human Rights and the European Charter of Fundamental Rights. But here people seems to have forgotten about it. So this is how we got the DSA and all the other censorship laws, and they try to impose them at any cost, even at the cost of the most strategic connections between European Unions and the United States, because this is a strategic connection. I was always fighting against it, and I always will. The funny part of that Elon Musk has contacted me directly, openly, publicly, with name and surname, is that not one single media in Slovenia have noticed that. This tells a hell of a lot about our media, about the media situation, and also tells exactly, in this case, why the freedom of speech is so important. Because without the freedom of speech, there is nothing else.
Thank you very much, Mr. Grims. And it's true, when Elon Musk commented on your post, none of the Slovenian media houses wrote.
If anybody else would receive his direct by name and surname answer, believe me, this would be on media in Slovenia for the next 6 months. In this case, nobody has even spoken about it. Not a single word.
It's very interesting. And on the other hand, Mr. Mazurek, when Elon Musk reposted one of your speeches, some of the Slovakian media were writing about it, and your speech was very influential. It went viral. It reached enormous amount of people, and they loved it, including Elon Musk himself, that reposted it. So what is your opinion about the current state of free speech in Europe, and about the Elon Musk's reaction and the media reporting about it?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate what Elon Musk did in both of our cases, and I really cherish his work, because anybody can attack with him with anything. For me, those are just empty words, because he is really the man who is sending rockets to the space and who provided the satellite internet for the whole planet. And who are the people who are attacking him? For me, nobody's, and it's not important for me to give a credit for their opinions. As you mentioned, it was quite opposite in Slovakia in comparison with Slovenia, because every media have been writing about the fact that Elon Musk reposted my speech, especially because the content of that speech was about that even also the lives of white people matter. Because I said openly that yes, Black lives matter, Jewish lives matter, Palestinian lives matter, all lives matter, but there is something what I need to say and they will have a problem with. Not because I have a problem with Black lives matter, I don't have a problem with any statement like that. And they had a problem, of course, because I was right. I said openly in the European Parliament that white lives matter, and Elon Musk reposted that. And that was the problem, because they openly started attacking not only Elon Musk, but also me. They said my speech was racist. Even when at the beginning I said all lives matter, they said yes, my speech was racist. Because give me a label without my reaction is the usual tactic. And of course, they came to the conclusion that Elon Musk is supporting extremists, Nazis, racists, fascists, and all evil in the European Union. Of course, as always. So this was a media strategy in Slovakia to attack me with every possible way. But I saw a lot of comments, hundreds and hundreds of comments of Slovak people who were openly attacking those media that what they're writing is just fake news. Like Donald Trump is mentioning all the time, fake news networks. This is what they are, this is what they represent. So I'm really happy that Elon Musk provided a free speech platform also for Europeans, not only for Americans, but for the whole world. He's, yes, one of the most influential persons in the world, because if you ask somebody in South Africa, East Asia, Northern Europe, or South America, everybody knows who is the richest man in the world, who is Elon Musk. And that means something when he is commenting your statement or reposting your post, because that means that your words are going to spread all across the planet Earth, which is very important and a good sign that we are doing a good job. We need a freedom of speech. As Mr. Grims mentioned, if we will get rid of this freedom of speech, the Europe and the Western civilization is going to collapse. We are going straight to the totality. And why the current leadership of the European Union, because this is not only my opinion, this is official statement, why the current leadership of the European Union wants to restrict the freedom of speech on social network, why they're imposing the mechanism of Digital Services Act against these platforms, why they are fining the platform X of Elon Musk with huge, really huge fine with no reasonable explanation. It's complete nonsense what they use as a reason to give him that fine. They are using it because they are losing. They are losing their power. They are losing their influence. They are losing their support of the people, because they know that if you have a free market of opinions, then the right opinions, the parties who are on the right side, who want to protect their Christian national values, who wants to protect their tradition, their countries, they will always win in that fight, because the truth is just on our side. And this is the problem what they have. That's why they want to ban people like we are. That's why they want to lower our reach on the social networks. And I have to admit it openly. If Donald Trump would not be elected in the last elections in the United States, I believe I would not be in social networks anymore. Not on Facebook, not on X, not on Instagram, YouTube, never, nowhere. But because he was elected, not only the Elon Musk get a bigger and higher position and could influence the world through to the free speech more, but also Facebook and Instagram changed their algorithms. I saw like from day to day that suddenly my posts are shared around the social networks, like on the Facebook and on Instagram. And because of that, I became one of the, maybe the main popular politician in Slovakia on social networks. Not because I'm paying huge amounts of money to the advertisement, because that's prohibited right now, but because the people want to listen. People want to share that ideas, and this is the free idea market. And they know it very well. They know it very well. They know it in their NGOs. They know it in the think tanks. They know it in the European Commission. And they just don't want to lose. So they want to create a new totality, ridiculous, but totality which will prohibit us for saying what we want to say. Or maybe they want to create a laws which will get us to jail because what we are saying, just to maintain their power. And we should not be aware, we should not be afraid, and continue in our struggle, because at the end, I believe we will win.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mazurek. Now I have a question for both of you, because you attended joint summits on free versus regulated speech. So first, a question for you, Mr. Grims. You argue state limits kills democracy. So, in your book, The Victory of the Good, or in Slovenian Zmaga dobrega, you also link this to cultural Marxism, tactics of guilt and silencing, and I would like you to just quickly explain it.
It's very easy to explain with the word of George Orwell. George Orwell said, what is the freedom of speech? To tell people what they do not want to hear. That's first. And second, I have to emphasize what I already have in the plenum, that George Orwell wrote his legendary novel 1984 as a warning to humanity, and not as an instructions to use in the third millennium. And I think that some people in the European institutions should really listen to that. Because what we need now is the real freedom of speech. Otherwise, we will never be able to achieve anything anymore. And the freedom of speech is not only protected by international laws, but those basic laws I have already mentioned, for example, the European Charter of Fundamental Rights. This means that there is no way that those in power, governments or, I don't know, European institutions should interfere with the freedom of speech. And this is why I always say that DSA, EU, this act is a totalitarian act because it enables censorship and should be abolished as a whole, with all the consequences backwards, with also the fine against Elon Musk, because they don't find him because of the blue plus. They find him because he opened this possibility where people can see what really is true, and people can evaluate what is going on anywhere else in the world without the red lenses in the mainstream media, which is, of course, 99% in the hands of the far extreme leftists, not only in Slovenia, not only in Slovakia, but everywhere in Europe and also in the United States mainly. This is why this topic is so important.
Thank you so much for your answer. Last question that I have about this topic for you, Mr. Mazurek. You highlight social media double standards where certain violence calls slide while right-wing opinions get crushed. So how can an average European confront these disparities and demand equitable enforcement?
We have been living for many years in a situation where really right-wing opinions have been crushed in the social networks. We had to watch every single word which we have been using or writing anywhere on social networks, because during the time when leftists could say openly anything, even call for a violence and ask to replace their own populations, and they have been very free to do that, we have been banned and prosecuted, shadow banned, which is the most despicable way how to silence somebody, because they openly say, oh, you have your profile, you have freedom of speech, but you have 10 likes. Nobody is interested in your content. But that's not true. The algorithms are just set up that your content is not showed on their timelines, which means that you are banned in real, but they are lying to your eyes. And that's a most despicable way how to silence political opinions on social networks. And have you seen any time before, for example, European Commission, commissioners, or any of the European Council members to say openly that this is the issue which we should solve somehow, that we should prevent social networks of influencing the algorithms like they are doing? And right now, I see a lot of speeches, not only from the European commissioners, but also from the MEPs as well, who say that Elon Musk is influencing the algorithms the wrong way, the Facebook algorithms are promoting more right-wing opinions. That's not true. They are promoting the opinions which people are interested in. And because you are boring, because nobody agrees with you, that's your problem. Maybe you should reevaluate again your positions and become right-wing as we are, and that will be much better for you. You will be more influence and power stronger on the social networks. But what the ordinary citizen can do is to be always aware, to always be informed and trying to be informed, and also to, I say it many times, I know it sounds like these evergreen songs which are played again and again, but they should go to the elections. Because if they will not go to the elections, the people who are invited here just to be the voters to maintain their people and their government, or the people who are against them, who hate freedom of speech, who want the regulation of freedom of speech, they will go to the votes and they will elect the parties which will destroy the freedom of speech. They should really go to the elections, even if it looks like that it's wind, even if it's look that they have no power to change or influence anything. They should always go to the election and vote for parties that want to protect freedom of speech. And I see it always that any parties, even here in the European Parliament or in their main countries, who are on the so-called right-wing or extreme right-wing side, no one of them is calling for regulation of social networks. No one of them is calling to new laws against the freedom of speech. It's always those who are calling themselves leftists, progressivists, greens, and similar. They are calling for such a thing. So every citizen of the European Union, every citizen of our countries, of our national states, should be aware, should listen to these statements, and be prepared to cherish more that freedom of speech, because if it will be destroyed, that will be the end, not only for us as a politician, but mainly for them.
Thank
You
you.
know that people mostly ask who is the bad guy, in fact, because they are confused because of all this disinformation they receive, especially in the mainstream media, also in public schools and everywhere else where leftists are in power. But it's a very easy answer connected with the topics we are speaking about. Always are the bad guys those who try to stop the freedom of speech, and those who fight for the freedom of speech are the good guys. That's always been in the history and always will be.
I agree.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for all of your answers. And it was very, very nice and a pleasure to be here with you today. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our debate for today, where we covered two of very important issues that Europe is facing right now. And I would really like to say thank you to Mr. Grims and Mr. Mazurek for all the amazing answers. And in the end of the day, Europe is not just a thing on the map, it's our continent that we should be proud of and we should take care of. So